gentlemen,
Excuse me.
the City of East Cleveland regular council meeting will begin Tuesday, March 17, 2015, 6:30 on the dot in the council chambers courtroom. Madam Clerk, should you call the roll, please?
Council King?
Present.
Is your camera?
Yeah.
I ain't want to sit
Council
up.
Baker, he will be here. Council Martin, he's on his way. Council Wheeler,
Here.
and Council Johnson.
Here.
We have four.
All right. Remarks of the public is in order. 3 minutes. How many on total? 5 minutes on total.
Or you can, 5 people.
Oh, 5 people, I'm sorry.
Yeah, take over 15 minutes.
Oh, is that Mr. O'Malley?
This is he.
He didn't have his coat on.
Amazing. I'm speaking in reference to selling the property of the city of East Cleveland. I guess that's 15, 16, 15, and also I guess whatever. Anyway, let me read something. 105.
Pardon me, Mr. O'Malley. Let the record reflect that Mr. Councilman Martin has arrived.
Stop it.
6:30.
We don't want you to lose no time, so she stopped the clock.
Thank you, because I hadn't started.
Yep, we stopped it. You ready?
Getting ready to sign it. In reference to selling or disposing property that's owned by the city, in the disposition of real property owned by the city and no longer need for a public purpose, the following procedures shall be followed. 1. The mayor shall obtain authority from council to advise or sell any paper in a newspaper of general circulation within the city once a week, so not less than 2 consecutive weeks. The address, legal description of the real property proposed to be sold. Such notice shall list thereon the city appraisal value of the real estate, whether practical or shall invite proposed bids for all parties interested in purchasing prescribed property. The notice shall direct bids to submit their proposal to the city within a given time period. Such bids shall also contain space for the bid price offered for such property, and bids proposed use of such property, and any other specified criteria and or information to be considered in evaluating awarding of sale. Upon receipt of the bids proposed, the mayor shall evaluate such bids. The facts to be considered. The evaluation, the bids proposed shall include price, proposed use of property, and other relevant consideration included. Those criterias and information described in the notice of bids. The mayor shall have broad discretion in evaluating bids submitted under the term of this section. The mayor shall report all bids received to council together with his recommendation. No real estate property belongs to the city shall be sold or leased except pursuant to an ordinance adopted by council and set forth, identifying the success bidders, description of whatever, and so it is my understanding from this council, what have you, did not receive the bids at the time, and as well as it has not been advertised in the paper, and if it is, I would like to know what paper was it advertised in and when was it advertised.
Thank you, Mr. O'Malley. Let the record reflect that Councilman Mansell Baker has entered the room and will be seated.
Kelvin Herbie, 14802
On this surplus to get rid of vehicles, first of all, it's good sitting mechanic. How can you say a vehicle is inoperative when you don't even have a sitting mechanic? Just because it's sitting there, don't mean it's broken down. Like Mr. O'May says, a scrap dealer or where's the bid package for that? I don't see any of that.
Good evening, Mayor, Council President. In reference to Resolution 1615, is there a list of the inoperable surplus vehicles, a number, because we know everything, the inventory should have numbers on everything that is owned by City Hall. So is there a list of those vehicles available? May I see if maybe you have one? May I have one?
Yes, as soon as when the meeting is over and the clerk is available, she will give you a copy.
Okay, thank you.
Is that all that is speaking tonight? Any more residents wish to speak? Hearing none, we'll move on with the agenda. Hearings, conduct, and scheduling. Reports and announcements from the mayor. And by the way, the Honorable Mayor has got his vote and he is seated. Mr. Mayor, you have the floor.
Thank you. Thank you to the individuals who have attended some important community conversations. We held the latest one last night. We held another one last week. We've been doing telephone town halls as well as in-person town halls regarding important decisions that East Cleveland collectively will have to make in its future. We all know that there are several options. We all know that there are some fiscal challenges. We all know that there are operational challenges. We all know that there are great needs in the city, things that have sat for a while and needed to be done decades ago and have not been done, and those things have come due. We have tremendous infrastructure challenges, we have tremendous financial challenges, and we are grappling with reductions in funding that affected cities in general and some items that affected the city of East Cleveland in particular. Private business decisions that have affected the revenue of the city of East Cleveland, as well as public sector decisions at the state level that have affected East Cleveland, even decisions with federal agencies, quasi-federal agencies, their business operations that they close down in several areas throughout the United States, one of which affects East Cleveland. Many of you know that we have lost a few $1 million in revenue through no fault of our own, through no action of our own, just business decisions made at various levels that come here to have an impact. As a result of that, we know that we have, again, some serious options to consider. Our approach has been to share all of that information as much as we can with the community as we all learn about and explore the options. And we urge council to participate in that discussion, to participate in that decision-making process. Some of you come to meetings and stay for as long as you can and maybe leave a little bit early if you need to, and we understand that. Others of you stay for the entire time. Some of you participate in the telephone town hall, and we really truly appreciate that. And you certainly listen and learn. So we want to share again as much information as we can with the City Council. We have some very important items to consider, and we certainly appreciate your participation. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
And we do have a city mechanic.
Thank you again for that information. Old business? New business? Receipts of communication and petition. Madam Clerk, we have communication from a resident. Would you read that information please enter the record?
Council office received this letter on March 9th.
Can everybody hear her?
No.
That's right. Council office received this letter on March 9th. It was dated February 27th. It's regarding East Cleveland Fiscal Commission. Dear Council, this letter is to request that you send a letter to the Ohio State Auditor, Dave Yost, requesting the immediate termination of the Fiscal Commission Board member, Mrs. Helen Forbes Fields. In actuality, Mrs. Forbes Fields should recuse herself from this critical board. At a pivotal time in the history of East Cleveland, and with all the merger talk, Mrs. Forbes Fields' presence on the board is a major source of consternation, given her conflict of interest due to her intimate relationship with Mr. George Forbes. It is a well-known fact that Mr. Forbes, the work associate and father of Helen Forbes, has been pushing the merger of East Cleveland for many years, at least as far back as the 1990s. Also well known is the fact that Mr. Forbes has significant influence over the Call and Post newspaper, a publication that is notorious for pushing out negative and often misrepresented information regarding the city of East Cleveland. This newspaper, in essence, creates a false narrative of the city and then calls for the merger. Finally, it is well known that Mr. Forbes has lobbied for his law firm, Forbes, Fields and Associates, and is in position to facilitate the legal aspects of the merger, legal work estimated in the millions of dollars. Not to forget Mr. Forbes' long-standing relationship with Case Western Reserve University, its developers, and their need for land. Given that residents of East Cleveland, most of whom share the same sentiment towards Mr. Forbes as Cleveland Westsiders do, the presence of Ms. Helen Forbes on the Fiscal Commission Board serves to ultimately confuse the residents of East Cleveland as to the overall mission of the Fiscal Commission, and thus the ultimate goal of you and your office. I'd like to conclude by stating, while watching the Fiscal Commission meeting from this past Wednesday, February 25th, 2015, on the 44112 News website, that Mr. Art McCoy's comments regarding Mrs. Forbes to the board were spot on. On behalf of the residents of East Cleveland City Council must send a letter to Dave Yost seeking the resignation or removal of Mrs. Helen Forbes Fields from the East Cleveland Fiscal Commission Board.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. Is there any discussion as far as from the council pertaining to this letter?
Madam President, I just have a question. I'm looking at this document in front of me, and it's requesting our signature. So if we're approval of this, we sign it and give it to the clerk?
Yes.
Okay. And the deadline on it for the public, the deadline for us to sign this, they're requesting that we do it by April the 22nd, 2015. Thank you, Madam President.
Thank you. Reports on the council committees, starting with Councilor King.
Thank you, Madam President. I have no report at this time.
All right. Councilor Martin.
Yes, Madam Chairman, I was given the task at the Health and Safety Committee meeting to have a conversation with the fire department. We had a conversation with the police department, and I followed up per my body of council people here what they requested that I do. I did meet with Chief Wilcox, and we were discussing, excuse me, how we can save money in the fire department, to show how we can save some money by hiring part-timers. So bear with me, I'm going to go over some technical stuff for your edification. The fire department, the guy who presented the information to the Health and Safety Committee under the leadership of Councilman Wheeler is Deputy Chief Clark. They said they had rolling stock in poor condition. Their concern was that some of the apparatus that the fire people have is not in the best condition. 8 full-time and 2 part-time, and they have a minimum wage clause in the collective bargaining agreement. Major concerns, again, is the apparatus. We needed a large pool of part-time firefighters. That's what was stated to this group. So I was given the task to follow up, and this is what I came up with in my meeting with Chief Wilcox. They're requesting a pool. I think they have 6 or 8 now, but a pool of 24 part-time firefighters. The question I asked was, why so many in the pool? Why 24? There are 14 part-time shifts per week, 2 per day. And we have one of the firefighters here who can, if I'm incorrect in something, help me with it. Daily, a staff of 8 full-time firefighters and 2 part-time per collective bargaining agreement. Cost savings. A full-time firefighter costs roughly $26.55 an hour. A part-time, which is where we'll save, is anywhere from $12 to $13 an hour with no benefits. Again, no benefits, that saves us money. If we have a full-time firefighter and they go beyond that, the limit, we have to pick up their overtime and the pension pickup, which costs a little bit more. Part-time can only work 24 hours per week. I repeat, part-time can only work 24 hours per week. If they go beyond that, and that's what I just said, but I want to reiterate, we have to pay the medical and other benefits. Currently, we have 8 in the pool. The department needs 16 more. I think you see the legislation we have today. In 2 months, we spent, I repeat, in 2 months, we spent $33,000 in overtime. Okay. The current trend in spending is about $16,000 a month in overtime. You have the scheduled overtime, and you have the call-up overtime. And I won't get into that. Maybe the firefighter might want to, I don't want to go into too much detail. But I'm covering something I think that you can comprehend from just a common sense standpoint. Problems we can feel. The collective bargaining agreement states 10 minimum and 2 part-time. The department overall strength must be at 36. 12 full-time firefighters per shift. We will save, and this is a rough estimate, but it's pretty much on target. We will save $15,000 a month if we hire these part-time firefighters. My body, that's my report. Okay?
Thank you, Councilman Martin.
Yes.
Councilman Mansell Baker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to announce that the Contracts and Property Committee will meet on March 24th at 5:30 here in the council chambers. And I also wanted to reassure the community that East Cleveland City Council, the Assistant Administration, we've done every viable, possible reason to dispose of equipment, any useless, vehicles that we have not had in circulation for some time, in order to generate revenue or some added revenue to the city of East Cleveland. So be reassured that we are looking at our current situation in depth and in detail and trying to see how we can make this city survive. That concludes my report. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Vice President Thomas Wheeler.
Over health and safety, and I thank Councilman Martin, he did all my work for me. But he explained it very well. Thank you, Councilman.
Thank you.
Also, the police department has received their body cameras, and they will be active and working, their voice activating and all this other stuff. I mean, they're really modern, they're state of the art. I think you got it through a grant. I'm not sure.
Yes.
But,
Or donation.
yeah, or a donation, but yeah, so we're struggling, but we're moving forward. And I see nobody here today that was at the meeting. Health and safety is important. I know you all want to know, because some of the stuff we have, like our rescue squads, are in bad shape. But the fire department's working with us, and they're trying to keep them going. And that's about it. So I'll let you all know when we have our next meeting.
Thank you, Vice President Thomas Wheeler. Well, I guess it's my turn, and I'm not going to talk a long time because
I'll hold you to that.
you say.
Sorry about that.
He's right. I don't have that much to report, except that I appreciate the fact that the mayor did recognize that some counselors come and some don't. But we have a lot of options that has gone unexplored to deal with the city of East Cleveland. And when Yost, the auditor, came to us and told us of the options that we had, he minimized it down to 3. And that was the merger, that was bankruptcy, and also preparation, which was to call your creditors in and see if you could negotiate a lower balance. That has not been done. All has been pitched out there in the universe of East Cleveland is merger. What we are also looking at is that, in my case, I'm the chair of the finance committee. We are still looking for a financial recovery plan, which has not been initiated or put in place for the council to review. I have talked to the auditors last week, and I've talked to Director Jack Johnson, who is the finance director, for 2 days a week, and he has nothing to report on the financial recovery plan. I'm very disappointed that the mayor has done robocall, has pitched merger all over the city, called individuals all over the city, but has yet to call an audience with this council and sit down and talk about what we need to do. Most of the time, the mayor is missing in action from the council meeting. And that's all right if that's what he wants to do. But it seems like he is neglecting his duty as an administrator of this city. We also, and I applaud my council people, because we amended the salary ordinance to allow for the police and firemen to bring in part-time employees, which would save a good amount of money in overtime. This recovery plan is very much important. We have to find out what we need to do, and you can't do it without a financial plan. We went along and passed the temporary budget, then we had to come back and pass a permanent budget. And we have done that. We worked diligently on that. So for the mayor to talk about meetings and town hall meetings and all of that good stuff, those things are good information, but tangible, no. And like I said, the mayor is always missing in action from these council meetings. I want you all to understand that they're missing in action. He appears like the ghost in the night. And he gets up and he'll leave, you know. I mean, it might seem comical, but it is not what we need to have as a leader in this community.
I agree with that.
So,
I do too.
having heard from my young counselor, I will say that is the end of my report. Thank you. Moving right along. Proclamation.
Point of order, I would like to amend the agenda to reflect that we,
What?
but I'm just saying we have the individual here, we should acknowledge that individual as they are here.
for what? I don't have a proclamation on the agenda.
Well, if she doesn't mind, I would like to acknowledge Edith Spivey, who was inducted into the Hall of Fame, and her son, whom attended Shaw High School in the graduating class of 2002. And I would definitely like to make mention of her presence here, as we will honor her with a proclamation upon her induction into the Hall of Fame.
First of all, Councilman Baker, do you have the information?
Oh, I just would, I'm stating I would like to acknowledge her presence, so if she could acknowledge that during that time too.
I understand what you're saying, but do we have any information about Ms. Spivey that we could elaborate on up here to deal with? Okay.
That's all I did.
It's under proclamation, so I mean, if that's what.
I asked where was it, and I know it was supposed to be done, so it should be done. It should be done.
Madam
It's been
President,
2 weeks.
and I know you want to keep order. Can we have the lady stand?
I'm just saying,
All right,
I'm just, please, Councilman,
okay.
what I am saying is, if you introduce someone, you still
Should have
have
right.
to give information to the rest of the residents so they'll know exactly what happened. Our mayor's disappeared again.
I see, he's consistent. Go ahead.
Okay.
Leave the car and keep on.
Who is Ms. Spivey?
Madam
Wait a
Chair,
minute, first of all,
just disregard.
No, she needs to be recognized.
wait a minute, wait, can I have order?
Keep patient.
Can I have order? First of all, the first I heard of it was from Ms. Walcott, who sent information about Ms. Spivey to the clerk. The information was supposed to be put to form, which is a proclamation. And Ms. Walcott called me today and asked me about the proclamation, and also spoke with the clerk. The clerk was saying that she would have the proclamation ready. Who is the council person that is presenting this proclamation? Mr. Mansell Baker, are you the person that is presenting this proclamation? Or brought
I
forward?
will see no problem in me presenting something to a former teacher of mine.
I have no problem in you introducing Ms. Spivey and telling us the, what wonderful things Ms. Spivey has done and accomplished, that she is receiving a proclamation from this council. Would you please stand and do your duty?
Members of the public, I would like to, at this point, thank you, Madam Chair, acknowledge the lifelong dedication and service to the East Cleveland community and also the East Cleveland City School District. Ms. Edith Spivey, who an educator by trade and a coach by trade and a mom to a lot of people at heart. She has definitely been an influential member and pillar in the community of East Cleveland, touching many, many lives and many, many athletes that have gone on to do big and great things in their respective careers and also their respective collegiate opportunities. She's 30 plus years in the district, retiring. I wish she didn't go anywhere because I missed that fire along the sideline, the basketball court, but she's definitely been an inspiration to many, a tough cookie, and I love her so, and she's definitely given me a bit of encouragement over the years as well, and I had the great pleasure of serving with Norbert on our committee for our class reunion, and he's also been a great classmate of mine. So I would like to understand at this point, and if the committee can join me again. And the honor we're talking about is that she's being inducted into the Ohio Hall of Fame.
I would just like to say thank you to the city of East Cleveland
first for accepting me, along with the East Cleveland City Board of Education. Not 30 years, Carter, I did 20, well, I did do 30 years in education. I did 27 years as a head basketball coach there at Shaw High School. As a matter of fact, I happen to have a member, a young lady in here that played for me at Shaw High School. So I think, just to see her presence here this afternoon, this evening, it was just a blessing. It did a whole lot to me when I walked in. But I just wanted the community to realize and know what was happening in my life, because East Cleveland gave me an opportunity to teach, and the school district gave me an opportunity to coach. And I thank them for that opportunity. I thank them for the opportunity that I had so many young ladies to touch my life, and hopefully my life touch their lives. The one thing that I always preached was about education, and then also about basketball. You must go to your classes first. That's the first thing you have to do and maintain your grades. The second thing is come and play basketball. And if you wanted to go to college on a basketball scholarship, it was my duty to get you in college, is what I did for ball players that wanted to go forward with that skill set so they can get that education. I've been with my son. His father passed away when he was 9 years of age, so the two of us have been together for a long time, and he understood that aspect of it about an education. And as he stands here before you, he can say, Mom pushed me. Pushed me. And one thing I can say, he's been a great son. He's never been in problems. Nothing with the police department, because he knows. I said to him, I'd rather take you out than to let the police take you out. I just know that. That was my upbringing as a child in the state of Florida with my parents. And my parents raised 11 of us. So I believed in that strongness. And everyone in my family that wanted to go to college went to college. It was one thing that my parents knew. And that was one of the things I entrusted into him. You must, okay? As you see him standing there, he's a big young man. He played football at Shaw High School. And now he stands there with a master's degree, okay? So. I thank you, Gladys, for really just giving you a copy of what was going on in my life. And I just wanted the city of East Cleveland to know, because I walked the streets of East Cleveland. When I taught here, I would park my car anywhere in East Cleveland. The ball players and the young men around here say, that's Coach Spivey's car. Don't bother. That was the respect that they had for me, because I demanded respect and I respected them. And I just thank you for giving me the opportunity to have something to say. And thank you, Mr. Baker.
Don't you go nowhere. Don't you go nowhere. This is, in this venue, this is the first time that I have heard of you and Gladys Walcott, who is my pack sister, my friend and a neighbor, talked about you so highly till I knew what was happening. But on the flip side of that, you are a dedicated Black teacher who has taught the kids and hasn't walked away from an obligation. And I'm going to say something also. Usually everybody's jumping up and down about March Madness. And it's always the fellas playing in March Madness. But I had the opportunity to be sitting there for the last couple of days watching the females do March Madness. And I tell you, those girls are just fantastic.
They are.
And now you got the female coaches that are now quite spiffy up there.
Yes.
They're doing their job and looking good doing it. And I admire a teacher like you. We had a couple of those in Patrick Henry when I went to Patrick Henry Junior High School. And I didn't. But my kids went to Shaw.
Yes.
And I had 5 of them. So I just want to thank you for your help and your indulgence and how you didn't forget where you come from and how you remembered the kids, such as Lancel Baker, who you taught. I just wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, and thank you. Thank you very much.
Before we go forward, I just did want to acknowledge the former council president, Gladys Walcott, and her attendance tonight, and also referencing the information submitted for Ms. Spiker. Thank you.
All right, if there is no
And the
more.
former Councilman O'Mays.
Okay.
I wouldn't have heard the end of it. Sorry, everybody.
You can see we like a family up here.